The city never slept, but for some, the light had already faded. It was a cold night. As people clutched their umbrellas, hurrying to their homes or a warm cafe, one man sat quietly on the edge of the sidewalk. His coat was torn and soaked, his shoes falling apart. In front of him, on a piece of cardboard, a single sentence was scrawled in shaky handwriting. Just a warm meal and a little hope. And then he saw him. A tall man in a black leather jacket, bearded, adjusting his hat slightly as he stepped into a small restaurant on the corner. Just before entering, he glanced outside for a brief moment. His eyes locked onto the man sitting on the sidewalk. Within seconds, the restaurant door opened again. The man was coming out, holding 2 plates of food. The homeless man looked up in astonishment. When he saw who was standing in front of him, his eyes widened. "You? You're Keanu Reeves?" he whispered in disbelief. Keanu smiled gently and without hesitation, sat down beside him on the cold pavement. "In this city, anything is possible," he said. "But right now, what matters is this. Are you hungry?" The homeless man held his breath for a few seconds, then nodded as he took the plate. The warmth of the steam rising from the food hit his face, making him feel something he hadn't in years: humanity. "What's your name?" Keanu asked. The man replied in a low voice. "Mike, I used to be a carpenter, but when things went bad, I lost everything. Now I live here, on the streets." Keanu nodded. "We all hit rock bottom sometimes, Mike, but that doesn't have to be the end of the story." Mike looked at Keanu carefully. In that moment, there was no difference between a famous actor and a homeless man. Just 2 people, sitting in the rain, sharing the weight of life. Keanu reached into his pocket and pulled out an old, worn notebook. He opened it and showed the handwritten notes inside. "You know," Keanu said, "I once hit rock bottom too. No one expected anything from me. But there's a quote here that always kept me going. When you think you're lost in the darkness, just wait for your eyes to adjust." Mike nodded silently. For the first time in a long while, he felt a small light within the darkness that had consumed him. But what Keanu did that night wasn't just about buying a meal. As the night went on, Keanu arranged for him to stay in a hotel room. A warm shower, clean clothes, and perhaps most importantly, a little hope. By morning, Mike woke up in a comfortable bed for the first time in years. But what truly surprised him was the small envelope on the table. He opened it to find a note inside. A little help for a fresh start. But remember, one day you must pass this kindness on to someone else. And inside the envelope was a check, enough to get him started at a workshop as a carpenter again. Mike closed his eyes and took a deep breath. One evening, one stranger, one plate of food. That was all it took to change his life. But the greatest impact came from Keanu Reeves' quiet act of kindness.